September 11, 2001. The day that changed the world, known simply as 9/11, it is a date etched in history. On that clear September morning, 19 men armed with box cutters executed a meticulously planned attack. 4 fully fueled passenger jets became weapons in an unprecedented act of terror. In just hours, the world was transformed. By the end of that morning, nearly 3,000 lives were lost. A new era began, defined by one haunting word: terror. A morning of unimaginable horror. At 8:46 a.m., American Airline Flight 11 struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. The impact shattered the calm of the morning and announced to the world that America was under attack. For those inside the towers, the moment was one of confusion and fear. On the 92nd floor of the South Tower, James Dorney, a young management consultant, was at his desk. From his vantage point, he saw the North Tower erupt in flames. At first, many assumed it was an accident, perhaps a gas explosion, but the truth was far more sinister. Dorman recalled being instructed over the building's intercom to remain at his desk, reassured that the South Tower was secure. Yet his instincts told him otherwise. Ignoring the announcement, he headed for the stairwell. This decision would save his life. At 9:30 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175 struck the South Tower between the 77th and 85th floors. The force was devastating, throwing Dorney off balance in the stairwell. He was below the point of impact, but had no idea what had caused the explosion. Chaos and collapse? As James descended, the stairwells became clogged with frightened people, some abandoning their shoes, others paralyzed with fear. The journey down was excruciating, a slow-moving nightmare. Outside, the city was in chaos. Meanwhile, President George W. Bush was in Florida, visiting a classroom of second graders. He was informed of the attack's mid-lesson. For the first time in decades, America was under direct attack. The weight of leadership settled visibly on Bush's shoulders as he addressed the nation, vowing that freedom would be defended. At 9:59 a.m., less than an hour after it was hit, the South Tower collapsed in a deafening roar, disintegrating in just 10 seconds. 30 minutes later, at 10:28 a.m., the North Tower fell. The iconic Twin Towers, symbols of American financial dominance, were gone. Dorney had made it out of the South Tower before its collapse. Emerging onto the streets, he described a hellish scene: blackened skies, falling debris, and the anguished cries of survivors. A nation in shock. At 9:37 a.m., the Pentagon, the heart of U.S. military operations, was struck by American Airlines Flight 77. The western side of the building was obliterated, killing all 64 on board and 125 inside. The attack was a devastating blow to the United States' sense of invulnerability. Australia's Prime Minister John Howard, in Washington at the time, was rushed to a secure bunker along with his family. Howard described the scene as one of utter chaos, with authorities scrambling to ensure his safety while coming to grips with the scale of the attack. The human toll. The aftermath of 9/11 left America and the world grappling with grief and fear. Survivors like James Dorney were haunted by the trauma of that day, while first responders became symbols of heroism. Firefighters rushed into the burning towers to save lives, many of them perishing when the buildings collapsed. For those who witnessed the attacks from afar, the trauma was collective. Australians watching the events unfold live on television felt the shock reverberate across the globe. A changed world. The attacks exposed the vulnerabilities of even the most powerful nations. Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda, once underestimated, became the faces of global terrorism. The response was swift but fraught with challenges. The subsequent war on terror sought to dismantle terrorist networks, culminating in the killing of Osama bin Laden a decade later. Yet, the broader goal of eradicating terrorism remains elusive. The withdrawal of U.S. forces from Afghanistan and the resurgence of the Taliban have raised concerns that the world is now at greater risk than ever before. Counterterrorism experts warn of the dangers of complacency and the possibility of even more catastrophic attacks in the future. Lessons from tragedy. The scale that they were describing, the wake-up call, the events of 9/11 were wake-up call forcing governments and intelligence agencies to confront the unimaginable. But as former Australian intelligence chief Dennis Richardson admitted, no one could have foreseen the scale or ingenuity of the attack. The scars of 9/11 run deep. They are etched into the memories of survivors, the families of the victims, and the millions who watched in horror as the world changed forever. This is the legacy of September 11, 2001, a day of unimaginable loss and enduring